Have you ever noticed that most of your suffering doesn't come from what's actually happening, but from the endless voice in your head replaying the past or worrying about the future? Stress, anxiety, pressure, all of them grow louder when we're not really here. Eckhart Tolle once wrote, "Unease, anxiety, tension, stress, worry, all forms of fear are caused by too much future and not enough presence." And he's right. We live as if the present moment is just a bridge between where we've been and where we're going, but in truth, it's all we ever have. Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. That's the heart of the power of now. Not a complicated philosophy, not a religious doctrine, but a direct invitation to experience life as it truly is, unfolding here, now, within you. Today, we're going to explore the 5 most important lessons from this book, lessons that can help you step out of the prison of the mind and into the freedom of presence. These are not abstract ideas. They're practices, ways to stop letting the mind control your life and to awaken into peace. But first, let me ask you this. How often do you find yourself replaying yesterday's mistakes or worrying about tomorrow's problems? What if I told you that you don't have to wait for the future to find peace? You can choose it in this very breath. When you stop and look honestly, you'll notice something strange. Life never actually happens in the past or in the future. The past exists as memory, stories replayed in your mind. The future exists as anticipation, projections of what might or might not come. But when you peel all of that away, there's only one place where life can truly unfold: the now. Eckhart Tolle puts it clearly. Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. Think about this. When you were younger, maybe you dreamed about where you'd be in 10 years. And yet, when those 10 years passed, where were you? Still here, still now. The scenery may have changed, your body older, your environment different, but the stage of your life was the same, this present moment. And the same will be true 10 years from now. Life is never not now. The problem is that most of us treat the present like a stepping stone, something to be endured until we reach the real life waiting for us in the future. That's why anxiety is so common. As Tolle writes, unease, anxiety, tension, stress, worry, all forms of fear are caused by too much future and not enough presence. When your attention is trapped in tomorrow, your body reacts as if danger is already here. Stress hormones surge, the heart races, sleep escapes you. Yet if you pause and drop into this very moment, you often realize, right now, nothing is actually wrong. Right now, you are breathing. Right now, you are alive. A simple practice is to catch yourself when the mind wanders. The next time you feel overwhelmed, ask, where's the problem in this exact moment? Not tomorrow, not in the story your mind is spinning, but here. You'll likely find that the problem disappears, or at least shrinks, because the now rarely contains the suffering that thought projects. Tolle also reminds us, time isn't precious at all because it is an illusion. What you perceive as precious is not time, but the one point that is out of time, the now. This isn't a call to abandon responsibility or planning. It's a shift in priority. Plan when you must, but live here. Every smile, every breath, every act of love is born in this moment, never outside of it. To awaken is to recognize that the treasure you've been chasing was always waiting in the now. If you feel this truth, write in the comments, I choose now. If the present moment is where life happens, why do so many of us feel disconnected, anxious, or incomplete? The answer lies in the ego, the false self we build out of thoughts, roles, and stories. The ego convinces us that we are our achievements, our possessions, our opinions, or the image others hold of us. And once we believe that, suffering follows. Tolle writes, the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. Think about that for a moment. It's not the job, the relationship, or the traffic jam that makes you miserable. It's the mental commentary about those things. This shouldn't be happening. I deserve better. I'll never get it right. The ego thrives on this inner dialogue. feeding on resistance and comparison. On social media, for instance, you scroll and compare yourself to others, their vacations, their successes, their perfect images. The ego whispers, "You're not enough. You're behind." And just like that, joy slips away. The situation hasn't changed. You're still sitting on your couch, but unhappiness blooms from the thoughts you've attached to the moment. The ego also loves to anchor itself in time. It says, "When I achieve this, I'll finally be happy," or "If only that hadn't happened, I'd be at peace." Both are traps. As Tolle reminds us, time isn't precious at all because it is an illusion. What you perceive as precious is not time, but the one point that is out of time, the now. When you notice the ego at work, something powerful happens. You realize that you're not the voice in your head. You're the awareness listening to it. That distance creates freedom. Suddenly, you can watch the thought, "I'm not enough," without believing it. A practical step. The next time you feel irritation, pause and ask yourself, is this pain coming from the situation or from my thoughts about it? You'll find that most suffering is optional. By disidentifying with the ego, you reclaim your peace. And here's the deeper truth. Beyond the ego lies your essence, untouched by circumstances, already whole. As Tolle says, you are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That is how important you are. The ego tells you you're small, unworthy, incomplete. Presence reveals that you are already aligned with something infinite. That realization is the beginning of true freedom. If you recognize the ego's voice in your life, comment below, "I am not my thoughts." It's easy to hear words like "be present" and think it's only about the mind, as if we could force thoughts to stop by willpower alone. But Eckhart Tolle teaches that presence is not just a mental exercise. It is something we can access directly through the body. The body is always here, always now, and it carries within it a subtle key to awakening. When you feel the weight of your body in a chair, the rhythm of your breathing, the quiet pulse in your hands, you're no longer lost in mental time. You have anchored yourself in the living moment. Tolle calls this practice feeling the inner body. It is not about imagining, but about sensing the energy of aliveness flowing through you. He explains, time isn't precious at all because it is an illusion. What you perceive as precious is not time, but the one point that is out of time, the now. And the now is most easily accessed through the body. Think about anxiety. It often begins in the head, racing thoughts, worst-case scenarios. But if you drop attention into your breath, if you feel your chest rise and fall, the grip of fear loosens. Why? Because anxiety lives in future time, but the body only lives here. You can't breathe tomorrow's air or yesterday's. The breath is always now. Try this simple practice. Place your attention in your hands. Don't move them. Don't look at them. Just feel them from within. You might notice a tingling, a warmth, a sense of vibration. That's life itself, raw presence without thought. This is how you train yourself to return to the now, not by battling thoughts, but by shifting awareness into the body. Tolle also says, you are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That is how important you are. When you realize that even the smallest act of presence, breathing consciously, walking with awareness, feeling the aliveness in your body, becomes sacred. It's not trivial. It's not a distraction. It's how the divine purpose moves through you. The body is not an obstacle to spiritual awakening. It is a doorway. And every time you walk through it, you discover that peace was never far away. It was in your breath, in your heartbeat, in the silent energy of life moving within you. If you felt that shift while reading this, comment, "I feel my body alive." One of the hardest truths to accept is that most of our suffering doesn't come from what is happening, but from our resistance to it. We argue with reality. We insist, this shouldn't be happening. This isn't fair. I can't stand this. But as long as we resist the present, peace will remain out of reach. Eckhart Tolle wrote, The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. Think about something as simple as being stuck in traffic. The situation is what it is. Cars lined up, moving slowly. The suffering begins not with the cars, but with the story, "I'm going to be late. This is unbearable. Why does this always happen to me?" You're no longer just in traffic. You are in a mental storm. Acceptance doesn't mean liking the situation or giving up. It means dropping the mental resistance. Tolle explains, time isn't precious at all because it is an illusion. What you perceive as precious is not time, but the one point that is out of time, the now. When you accept the now, even if it's unpleasant, you align with reality. And from that alignment, true action becomes possible. You may still call to let someone know you'll be late. You may still make changes afterward. But in the moment itself, you stop fighting what already is. Radical acceptance is not passivity, it's clarity. When you stop saying no to the present, your energy is freed from inner conflict. You can respond rather than react. Here's a practice. The next time you feel frustration, pause and ask, "Can I accept this moment as it is?" Just that question creates a gap between you and the resistance. Sometimes the answer will be yes, sometimes no, but even asking begins the shift. Tolle also says, unease, anxiety, tension, stress, worry, all forms of fear are caused by too much future and not enough presence. Radical acceptance brings you back from the future into this moment where life is actually happening. And in that surrender, something paradoxical occurs. What once felt unbearable becomes lighter. Not because it changed, but because you did. True freedom is not found in changing every situation, but in dropping the illusion that peace depends on conditions. Peace is already here, waiting behind your resistance. If you're ready to practice acceptance, comment, "I say yes to now." All of the previous lessons, living in the now, disidentifying from the ego, using the body as an anchor, and practicing radical acceptance, point toward one destination, awakening. Awakening is not about becoming someone different. It is about shifting from being lost in thought to realizing yourself as the awareness behind thought. Tolle explains this with simplicity. You are not your mind. You are the awareness behind your mind. Awakening begins the moment you see a thought without being consumed by it. You might hear the voice in your head saying, "I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed." And instead of believing it, you recognize it as just that, a voice, a mental event, not who you truly are. That small gap is the opening of consciousness. He also reminds us, you are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That is how important you are. Awakening is not selfish. When you become present, the quality of your presence impacts everyone around you. A parent who is truly present with their child breaks cycles of neglect. A leader who listens without ego transforms a team. A stranger who smiles in presence can soften the heart of another. Presence is contagious. This doesn't mean you will never face challenges. Life will still bring change, loss, uncertainty. But awakening means you no longer fight those moments from within the prison of time and ego. You meet them with awareness. You become the sky instead of the passing weather. Tolle's words capture this beautifully. The past has no power over the present moment. That is liberation, the recognition that no matter what you've been through, the now is untouched, fresh, alive. Every breath is a doorway to freedom. To cultivate this awakening, practice becoming the observer of your mind. The next time a thought arises, instead of asking if it's true, simply notice, here's a thought. That witnessing presence is the real you, spacious, timeless, and free. Awakening is not a final achievement. It's a continuous unfolding. Every moment is an opportunity to wake up again, to return to presence, to remember who you are beyond the mind. If you're ready to awaken to this truth, comment, "I am awareness." We've walked together through the 5 keys from the power of now. Recognizing that life only happens in the present seeing the ego as the source of suffering, using the body as a gateway to presence, practicing radical acceptance, and awakening to the truth of who you really are. Eckhart Tolle reminds us again and again that peace is not something you need to chase. It's something you allow, here and now. The past has no power over the present moment. Those words are not just philosophy. They are an invitation to live differently, to experience freedom in every breath. So ask yourself, in this very moment, can you choose presence? Can you let go of the weight of yesterday and the anxiety of tomorrow and simply be here? Because when you do, you'll discover that the peace you've been seeking was never outside of you. It was always waiting within. Engage with us. If this message touched your soul, type in the comments, "I choose now." Like this video if you felt the shift, and subscribe to join a community of seekers walking this same path, a path of presence, healing, and awakening. Remember, the now is not just a moment. It is the doorway to life itself, and you're already standing inside it.